We're preparing to stream. And I think we're actually live right now. So
I think we're
just need to
live.
set this up.
I think we're good.
We're live. We're on a live stream post Christmas. I just need to get the link here and I'll post it. Yep. I need to mute this. Actually, okay. We're live. Let me just hold on, guys, real quick. I'm going to post this. All right, one more thing. Twitter. Tweet it out. I almost looked into how to get this more efficient. I did.
You almost looked into it.
I pulled up some YouTube vids on like how to live stream properly. And I found some.
Yeah.
I haven't watched them yet, but it's like 10 minutes. So there's a way. And maybe it's not through Zoom. We'll figure it out. But hey, okay, we're live. So let's rock and roll. Bravo. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, dude. How was your Christmas?
Thanks, man. It was pretty good, man. A lot of the in-laws and kids, and it's great.
Nice.
Yeah. How about yours?
It's good. Kids are going crazy. We went Elf on the Shelf this year. So for many years, it's been a long debate about whether or not we're doing Elf on the Shelf.
Okay.
We finally caved and we got this elf. So Elf on the Shelf concept is like there's this elf in your house that basically like is there to watch, to make sure that you're good. Yeah. And so like, so like my whole thing was like, okay, there's going to be this object in your home that now has the authority. And I've had a problem with that. And plus the religious aspect too, right? Or like, that's not what Christmas is about. Whatever. Right. But there's this thing in your house that now has control. And I've been like, nah, it's kind of creepy. But this year was really fun. And the wife made it really fun. And like all these shenanigans the elf got into. And it was cool. And, you know, little daughter was sad when the elf went back to the North Pole and stuff like that. So whatever. It was cool. But that was fun. But it was the, nice, everything, man. It was, my son now, it's his birthday today, actually, but he's 9. And big day. And he's kind of getting it. He's kind of like, hey, Dad, Santa down through the chimney. And kind of put it together. And I think this is like the last year or two where it's like, okay, come here, son. Let me fill you in on the secret. And
sure.
Anyways. All right, man. Well, let's get in here. I think that it's cool with you. I think we can knock out some great stuff in about an hour. And
I think that's good.
Yeah, 2 hours, whatever. It's good content, but like let's dig in because I want to show some stuff that I've been looking at lately and some fractals. Are you cool with that?
Totally.
All right. Before we do, real quick, I need to tee this up on my phone so I can see the content, the chat if there's any. But okay, so what I wanted to do was just take a quick look at the recent action in Bitcoin and what do we have. So talk me through what happened. Like, what's going on here, man? Like, we had a little dip at 6 a.m. That was interesting. We jumped right back though.
I saw that, and I was trying to find a horizontal level somewhere in there, and I got lost in doing what I was doing. But that's to me what if I see something like that, I'm always looking for a horizontal line of support somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I can't say that I came across it, but I'm sure on some time frame you could see it, but I have no idea what that was.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I don't either. I mean, it was a flash, but it was bought back pretty quickly. So
yeah, what 46.5 or something?
I've got the chat up, so we can look at it. Yeah, 46,850, right on the nose. Looks like.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, we're just watching this resolve. But I did a video yesterday looking at some things, and we did call like officially on the green, yellow, red kind of market condition.
Yep.
Look, we had a breakout, but man, no volume, and it was 4 days of flat sideways, and then we did push up, make a little bit higher high, but then we flushed down. So I think it was, people were asking whatever my thoughts on it and that sort of thing. But, really it was, I think that the bulls weren't strong enough. The bears saw the opportunity to take short and they did, because that was, to me, I always look at the markets in terms of like net opportunity. Like if the net opportunity is long, then the market will take long. When the net opportunity switches to short or sell side, they'll take a short. So I think it was an obvious like lack of strength and lack of follow through and push. And so we're back down, and we'll have to see what happens from here. But, watching a couple things, this trend line here, it's weird how you can draw it. I'm on log right now too.
Yeah.
But, I guess we're still above it. So we're still holding, but it's, quite kind of questionable right now, honestly. It's just not the strongest follow through we've ever had. We did break this RSI line too. That's something else, kind of noticed yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that whole question of like, where do we go from here? I think that, the market still needs to digest the correction, and then the bulls need to step in and take over. Look at this volume, man.
Yeah. It's non-existent almost.
Yeah, it's not. And I did a deal yesterday on the video that looked at the weekly chart and the long timeline. Mm-hmm. But, 2021 has not been a volume year. It's not been big volume, like end of cycle. If you go look at end of cycle volume in 2017 and 2013, like the push that we had into the end of cycle was huge. And we're just not seeing it yet. Not to say they won't show up or happen. Maybe we get into the new year in 2022, bulls really start showing up and push us high, and we'll watch that. We'll be ready for that too. But it's just watching it now, just not seeing. I mean, the only volume difference we had on on this action was, let's see if I can get this to kind of zoom in on volume. The biggest volume candle we had recently in the last few days was the sell-off. See that?
Yep.
I mean, that's where like it was pretty anemic until there. And sometimes when you get a breakout, it's like, well, you get a breakout, then the bulls get signal, and then the volume steps in, which I've seen. But the biggest volume here was into the sell-off.
And I think that candle showed up with. I don't know if you want to talk about OBV, but there is, I believe, a long-term trend that was broken on balanced volume. And I think it was multiple sell candles in a row that probably broke that down a little bit, but the volume has been flat. Yeah. So I was looking at this.
I don't look at this a whole lot, but I
like this because it's a good trend. It's a good trend predictor, right?
Yeah. An OBV is basically, my understanding of it anyways, is basically the price movement times the volume. So it's basically an accounting ledger of the total. That's why they call it on balance. So what you're like, if you sell off, then your OBV drops. And if you buy, you accumulate, then your OBV goes up. So it is a good way to see it, kind of like this cumulative volume indicator. But you can see it again, and it's kind of like, look at this, how it topped with RSI here earlier.
Yep.
In like January 21, before the higher high on this lower RSI, and even your OBV was down, right? So, and that's how you look. Like, I think, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think OBV, the way I understand it is that you take the total amount of volume for whatever time frame you're on. You take that volume, sell and buy volume, and then you add it to the following day's candle if it's green, or subtract it if it's red. And that way you can get a pretty good indication of where the market's going in trend. Is that, do you understand it that way?
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, you get this, there's like accumulation here, and then looks like distribution and whatever. I'm not trying to be an OBV expert here, but just looking at the indicator. Yeah. It's like, look at this.
It follows, so you can see like RSI pretty well. Yeah. It's a little different, but if you look at RSI and OBV, it tracks pretty well.
Mm-hmm. This is like, if the sell-off happens on low volume, it's going to show you on OBV, right?
Yeah.
Or if a pump happens on low volume, then like this. See how like we popped up, and RSI popped too. Look, so this is where you would see it. Like OBV didn't move because it wasn't on volume,
right?
So yeah. Okay. Well, a couple of fractals I want to go over. Somebody in the Telegram asked about this. Well, I pointed it out, and we're going to look at it today. So let me go to, I think I had it teed up here. This is an interesting fractal that I found from 2019. And so I'm going to zoom out first so you guys can see where this is in the cycle first. And then we'll look at, so it is in the middle of this cycle, right? So
yeah,
whatever. But I found this price action very interesting. This is the weekly. And the RSI was very interesting. Again, this is on the weekly. So, and I'm not sure if I'm like looking for, I'm probably looking for confirmation based on what I think might happen in the future. It's probably what's going on because I'm like looking for other, right, like trying to get some bias confirmation or something.
Totally.
But it, probably, but let's look at this, man. So you had a high point, and this is in June, so it's not the ultimate high, but it did have a recovery period. This is the high point for 2019. And like in yesterday's video, I said, this is when everybody said the cycle's compressing, we're going to go to the moon. And sure enough, it was just a local top. And again, what do you have? Like if you zoom in, a higher high on lower RSI, it's just classic. It's just too classic, right? And then you start breaking these down and then you fall. But anyways, I didn't want to zoom in on that. Looked at the following action from that high point. I'm kind of like, okay, what happened? How did Bitcoin recover and what happened? Well, what you have here is you have some consolidation and you have a weakening RSI. You have consolidation and finally like this thrust down. You have a thrust down. You have 2 weeks of sideways, a little bit of bullish action here with a wick. And then you have this topping kind of looking candle and then you finally pump out. Now, granted, look at where this body was green, but you wick down. Like your final move in this 5 week area right here was down, sideways up a little bit, up, kind of chop, and then final thrust down, then thrust up. See that?
Yep.
So, and from at that point, until that point, you can't draw your fib there, right? So your lowest point is here, right? Until you get the data point, you don't know where to put the fib. So you drop it here.
Sure.
But look where, and remember, this was all in 1 week. And granted, this was 2019. I think the market moves a little faster then than it does, or moved a little faster then than it does now. But let me erase this blue. But see where we came up to, and we're talking about now, as we relate to now, there was a thrust back up to this 0.5 fib. And granted, remember, it was just a wick. So I don't know what that looks like if it's a day or two, whatever. But then a slam, final low, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks down, a little brief recovery. After 1, 2, 3 more weeks of consolidation, then a slam, then you have a run. And let's look at that fib. And that fib again, 0.5. So I've mentioned this a few times, and just my thought process is I'm not sure that let's just go to, well, before we go to today, but let's burn this in our brain and then let's go look at today. But look at here, RSI. We did break, right?
Yes.
Here, we kind of broke on this candle here, but we broke out, but then we came back and tested it topside on now as I understand, it's called a retest. A back test is when you use your algorithm and you go back and study all data and apply it, your trade method. But this retest, right, of this is the diagonal line. A retest of the diagonal line until you're able to build some RSI strength, build some strength, although price is mostly sideways, building some strength, and then the bulls could try again. So again, you break out above the RSI downline, retest on the top side, sideways and up. Okay, if that is a model for what we can expect, let's kind of draw that out.
Yeah,
it's kind of how I would take it to current. So this pop, the other thing, what got me was looking at it was this pop back up in RSI here, this lobe. These other ones don't have it is defined. Like this one is whatever. Like there's a lobe in here, but this to me, I was like, well, what if we came down, we popped, and then we have this price action? So to me, what that would look like is, let's draw it out. So what if, and then I want to show you this fractal I saw this morning, and this is, I think, even better, but we'll see. So are you ready for Fractal Wednesday? So what would that look like here? I don't know how this resolves, but let's just whatever. Say we do finally whatever, and then we get. I'm just trying to redraw that.
Yeah.
Okay. So say it's. I mean, it's not exact, but you get it, right?
Yeah.
Came up.
Yep.
Retest topside and then up. So once this resolves, and again, this is weekly. So, like, do we get that, and then that? I'm trying to draw off memory here, and then that, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does this look like? Let's just pretend this is this. We honor this and say, okay, if this is going to be how it plays out, then you get that. This might be just a wick.
Yep.
Might end up being just a wick. The body might be up here. You might even resolve your MA, your weekly 50. So then you get your head and shoulders. You get your breakdown. You reach your target. And then the bulls finally step in at this old price support level. Make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what if that is kind of the way it plays out, right? I don't know. I just found it interesting. And, you know, in one of the few scenarios we're looking at, I could see this playing out this way.
I've seen several that look just like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I want to show you one fractal, and then I know you want to show us what you've been digging up on the equity side and just charts in general.
Sure.
Thanks for everybody real quick. Thanks for joining the live stream. And if you want to chat, then I can see who's in here, but thanks for being here. Any questions or comments or whatever, please post in the chat, and we'll check it out. But otherwise we'll just roll on. And so
just hearing your music back there. What do you got going back there, by the way?
Well, it was Armin van Buren. And then,
I feel like we're at Macy's.
Yeah, we are in Macy's right now. Some sort of coffee house jazz stuff. It's putting me to sleep almost. Yeah. So it is pretty Macy's. I got the guy on the piano coming on in 30 minutes. There's a guy on the piano. Watch this, dude. Watch this. You ready for a fractal?
Yeah.
That was a little eye-opening when I saw it. You ready? Because it's right here. It's right in front of your eyes. Can you see it? Oh no, this isn't like pop quiz day, but look, ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
What's that?
Man, I've been staring at that for like a week.
That?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Yes.
That was a fake out, wasn't it? What's this? Yeah. Could be a fake out. And down, flaggish thing. Pop up, higher high here. Nope, rejected. Down, sideways, down, up, finally up. So what would that look like? Here, down, flaggish, topside break, new high. We're good at it? No, we're not. We're going back. You test it. This, whatever. It kind of hung in there for a day or two. Boom, you break. I think this held its low. No, it didn't. New low, barely new low.
New low, yep.
New low, right there. See it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So, new low, barely right there. You kind of grind one last time. No, that looks like that. It just looks like that. I can't disagree.
Well, it sure does. And I wonder if that breakout was on low volume. I bet it was. I mean, I'm sure we can look and see.
Yeah, I think I took it off because it was on a different track, but let me get it back.
Yeah.
The cues are here. Hey guys, good to see you. All right, dropped it here. I mean, look at the volume though, man. The highest volume was on the sell-off.
Yep.
That's what I remembered here. But then you did have a boost. Look right here.
Yeah, you did.
See this guy? This guy that's
a good size candle.
Threw you out from the bottom.
Yep.
How it ramped and then popped. That's why everybody's like, we're up.
Yeah, but look at the follow-up. Yeah.
And you got sold off. Here, where are
man?
Where's everybody, man?
Right. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I hate to be negative Nancy, but I don't know if we're done here yet. You know what I mean? So just being, Jedioshi, we're prepared for anything, but this is what the charts look like. This breakout was not on any different volume. And since we're back down, and if fractals are fractals or whatever, it's just kind of interesting when you see these patterns. You're like, well, this just happened. I remember the summer of 2021. It was like, oh, we're gonna be okay, and then it was like another month of down. So I did a little time work on this thing. Basically, it's just super easy, but I just did this. And I said, well, watch this, dude. From the bottom wick to the top was 27 days, and then this one it's like 24. 23. So yeah, I mean, like, we're pretty consistent with that. Now, I don't know if this timeline, if this time range, this secondary kind of period needs to be a secondary period, but if it is, let's look at it. We could be in for, this was another 35 days. That was brutal, man, because it was like you had false hope right after all this, and then you had false hope, and then you had to bleed. And then it was like, finally, we're coming out. But when the bulls took it, they finally took it. And then you recovered. So 27.35 is 50, 62, 62. That's about, call it 60-40. So if that's 60-40, then maybe this is like, I don't know, something like that. I mean, I could do the bars pattern, right? Let's do it real quick. So to get a bars pattern, let's just take the bottom candle, copy, drag it over to, let's just go to, it doesn't really matter. Take it here. Say, okay, that matches then, in here, maybe in here somewhere. I mean, that's like, we're a little bit compressed, so let me move it. We get the top. Oh, something like that. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, this don't take the price, right? Like, whatever. I have to adjust that. I have to zoom in. Like, yeah, something like that, right?
Sure.
So like, boom, breakout, fake out. Nope, not yet. Come back down, lower, low, and then another period of down, and then we finally range up. So, isn't that interesting though?
Hard to, I mean, it's impossible to deny the similarities so far, right? Yeah. It's looking very similar.
Although we never got a retrace. I think about this a lot. I was thinking about this a lot.
Oh,
this came up to there. I mean, we had a bounce, but right. We didn't get that.
Yep. Well,
I don't know.
You may still get it. I mean, this structure may continue on. Like, it may just be much longer than we want and what we expect.
Yeah, at least for for the bulk scenario where you're like, guys, come on, I want, whatever, and I'm not expecting Bitcoin dominance to break down, and maybe we'll get surprised and something just pops, and and then Bitcoin dominance breaks down and belts decouple even though Bitcoin's sideways or whatever. I don't know. Like,
right.
If this is right, that whole debate that we have, like end of cycle, mid cycle, or where are we and what happens and all that. But, I'm still looking at this volume. Like, let me just show it to you. And then I want you to show us what you're looking at in equities. I bet we can see it. Yep. Let's go back to weekly. See, look. I think this is Bitfinex. I'm getting it. See this push into end of cycle? Look at that build.
Wow.
I mean, you're growing on like boom. In 2013, had a ramp. I mean, relatively, of all the data, that was there in time. It built into the top, and then you had these humps of volume. And this is a Bitfinex. I mean, I'm trusting the volume. Granted, it's volume from one exchange, but like we had this is consistent with other exchanges too. A big build into the end. And that,
wow.
So when I think about, like, I talked a little bit about momentum yesterday. When I think about momentum, it's price times volume, or RSI really. But like volume is another indicator. And like, I'm looking at the strength of a move, and look at this compared to even this move that we had here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't know if this, I think this is all valid, but
Yeah.
and I don't know, somebody's gonna have to explain to me better than my understanding, because there's all this on-chain work that's whatever, and I know that's all the accumulators and the free stuff,
right.
or the real free supply, and
That's right.
it's the accumulators, and so the tradable volume. I get all that, but just not just the actual trading volume is different, right? You can't argue that.
Yeah. Right.
So we'll see. But does that mean that we're all doomed and everything? No, it doesn't. But it just means that, be aware and pay attention that, if we get let's just say we do that, but even this fractal period, and then we do that, like, just be ready, like, be ready to take some action if you're not seeing like strong, like, strength, like even a period like that, where it's like boom and we're getting strong trends, like, because we're talking like we're eyeing these levels, to take some shelter, whatever. But it doesn't mean that that's the way it has to happen. Like, if we see this and like there's no, like, we actually bounce here and there's strong trend, whatever, and we're just going up, then we can ride it. But just to be prepared, because we're just not seeing strength. And yeah, like I said, maybe it comes in next year, but it's just not here.
So you can explain this better than I can, for sure, but I've read many times that there's, the big mining companies out there, the Hut 8s, the Maras, they're part of their business model is obviously mining Bitcoin, but it's holding it, right? I mean, that's part of the business model, is to mine and hold as much Bitcoin as you can.
Yep.
So, I mean, thereby
different companies
eliminating a lot of the supply.
True. And some of the majors, their business model is to sell Bitcoin to pay for expenses, and some others just want to accumulate. I'm not sure how they actually pay their expenses, but
right.
Yeah. So it's they're accumulators, and really their model is to mine this asset for the future, for when it goes into $1 million someday.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, okay, just manage your expenses and mine. But man, let's see what do you have?
Oh, you want to see?
Have?
Sure.
Yeah. Let me stop sharing here.
Let me know when you can see it.
Got it.
This is interesting. As we talked about last time, like, I spend a lot of my time going through charts and trying to find patterns, and that's the best sort of predictive analysis I can do. And this happens to be so you've got Bitcoin on top, and on the bottom you've got Boeing. Okay. And so I've got this on replay mode. And so this chart I've cut it off at July of 2001. And I'll show you why here in a minute, but I want to kind of expand this. And I think hopefully everybody can start to see the picture that I've been seeing. If we go,
it looks really similar.
So yeah, when you start comparing, so let's just put the line here. I can't cut off the back end, but this was an all-time high for Boeing. Okay. This is back in 1990. And just bear in mind, this weekly chart is much longer than what we're looking at. Right. The structure is this market just happens to move a hell of a lot slower than Bitcoin and crypto. But so here, like, let's just look at some of the general interesting things about these structures. So if we just take a fib from our previous all-time high on Bitcoin in 2017, right now we've come out to this extension here just under the 4.236, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just eyeball these structures, and
even when you start measuring, I mean, like, just by the eye,
the grand structure,
very similar.
They look so similar, right? So look at this extension, and this is a massive bull run, right? But look, we've reached out to nearly the exact same extension. Okay, check that box. But then the structures themselves, if you start to trace the moves, like I was doing this morning, from the all-time high in Boeing, you get a crash, you get a little bouncing, you get a little sideways consolidation, if you will, and then a crash. Similar over here in Bitcoin, right? Bounce, 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 sideways, crash. And if you really zoom in on these lower levels, and I'm not going to, even these moves in here, you can find very similar structures where they make a lower low, if they don't, and then how they pop out, right? And then this was COVID-19, so I think this is a bit of an outlier move. But all of this area in here and all of this in here, I can find very similar structures going all the way up.
It's very
and
interesting.
then, of course, when you get to the top, I mean, this is where it really starts to, it becomes very, I mean, it's almost impossible to not deny what these look like, right? They look very, very similar. All right, so let's line them up. So you have 1, 2, 3 all-time highs or new highs, 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever. Very similar. A rollover, then you get the downward channel. You break up and you start making new highs. Okay, so you have a new high here and a double top. So really, what I want to show everybody is, okay, you've got a structure that looks very similar to what Bitcoin's doing right now, and I've got this on replay. So let's just watch what happens in the future. And bear in mind, these are weeks that go by. And the cycle's moving a lot slower, but it is very interesting. So you put on the replay and you just watch what happens. And then we'll kind of dive into what the structure looks like. And apologies if this is boring to people, but this is the geeky stuff that I get into. I could watch charts on replay.
Oh, I know.
Just for hours. But I think it's fascinating to see
just
what
reliving the
doing,
past.
Right? Yeah, but I mean,
look at that, man. Like massive dip. So you had a little bit of a leg up, right?
Okay, well, this goes on and on. I'll just let this run. But you can look. This is where if you really want to start getting into the analysis, I'm not exactly sure if we were to take this fractal from Boeing as if this is what's going to happen in Bitcoin. I'm not entirely sure where we are on this fractal. Mm-hmm. It's not perfectly clear, but what is perfectly clear are the drops and the retracements on some level, right? And this goes on, and it eventually goes into a very long bear market. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to turn it off. Yeah. And so you can see the rest. So let's just look at
bull market.
No. So it double tops. So you have your old all-time high. It comes up. It makes your double top, and then it crashes.
Oh, I see that. Then.
But this bear market, Rambo, this is from this top in 2001. This bottom happened 2 years later, right? Yeah. So this is a bear market before it finally starts to work its way out.
Man, this
is a long period of time. So let's just look at real quick if you want, look at where the retracement was from the bottom.
What, 0.5? Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
Okay, so this is the third clue in what we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that the structure that on Bitcoin is going to look just like this. Who knows? But I think it's very interesting that once we finally did get the big capitulation, it came back to the 0.5. Right? This other top was nearly the all-time. It almost came back to the all-time high. So if you wanted to put the retracement on this at that first dip, you do get a move back to roughly the 702.
Oh, I see where you're doing
and it. And then it tries to make an all-time high, and then it falls. I can't really do that with Bitcoin right now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
All-time high. You know what I mean?
So yeah, it's kind of because that would mean we need another leg up to attempt to take it higher than say 69,
right? To like 68 or something.
Okay.
So I don't. Yeah. I can't say where we're at, but
just like
I do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And just like how you had it zoomed out at first, where you're like, look at the structure.
Yeah.
Look at the structure. This is a market, kind of looking at a market cycle, right? And like, look at Boeing's market cycle here. Like, yeah.
It's pretty much undeniable that the structures are very similar, right? When you just take off what's happened and just put them next to each other.
Maybe in my mind, some of that Boeing thrust, like the down thrust, may have been from like the .com, bust in the market,
Definitely.
Whatever.
Sure.
Right. So, because we were looking at some 9/11 charts too. Well, no, sorry, this would be 9/11, not .com, because 9/11 was in September. That's right there, 9/11 2001, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right here.
So that was a 9/11 effect. So if we weren't to have something like that, like a COVID crash or 9/11, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
exaggerated because of the broader market sell-off. However, a chart's a chart, and yeah, I mean it's a great fractal.
We've talked about this a bunch, and I've seen this topping structure a lot. This just happens to be one of the closest that I've seen. I mean, it's undeniable, right? I mean, it looks very, very similar.
It's really good.
It's not exactly the same, but I don't know if you're ever going to find something exactly the same, but I think it's telling.
So if we were to draw that out on the Bitcoin price chart, then maybe there's, like we finish our consult, whatever, and then we get another push up, whatever that goes to, and then brace for impact, right?
Yep. Well, so if we're somewhere in this area and we get this channel, right? That's what I've always been looking for, is this vertical channel, this 45-degree or whatever, and then we get the big slam. This is where we've talked about it a million times. This is where we'd be hoping to get alt season action,
big time alt season. I think alts will do better than Bitcoin in that little first green leg that you showed. Like that's probably a tradable zone, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like you got to be careful and watch your charts. But then after that, I think that's when you can get the real big action, but from the bottom. So, and again, look, this did not recover its price, and granted, some of that was 9/11, right? But it didn't actually come back up to its price, and so like. Let's say you're in an altcoin or whatever, and the price is $100, and it goes to say 120, and it smashes to 60 or 40. It may just go from 40 to like back to 100. You know what I mean? True. Like that thought process where, the trade may be you got to get out and then buy the bottom and then ride up, versus being able to just sit and then actually get profitable, because that opportunity might not be here. So I think it probably lends itself more for an active trader than just a holder.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Which is why I'm looking to. Yeah, which is why I'm looking to, play a rise here after a consult. If we can get a bump here. Let's go to the daily. What's going on? Down 320 on the day. Okay. Whatever this finishes out, and if it does happen to take another month, whatever, we'll be ready for it. Finally does one of these, and then finally comes up here. That, to me, that green part on the Boeing fractal might be this, or might be this. Right. And then
totally agree.
And so let me zoom out even more.
That gives you the shoulder. Yeah.
So like if that Boeing fractal plays out, then I think let's just say this finally resolves, and we get an up thrust like that. That's that first green we looked at. And then a violent, I drew it way down there, but whatever.
Yeah.
Violent red. And then the real fun in the alts may take us back to see how that's not high like that.
Right.
So if you're to eyeball a fib on this, that looks about half, and then this to this, again, that's about halfway.
Looks about half. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is this in play? And then so you trade this and you trade that, and then live to fight another day. But which kind of leads me to
I think that's possible, to say the least. I think that's possible. Yes.
Yep. Hey, the Q's asked, is there a way to find out how much Bitcoin is being used in retail to purchase products? I think there is. There are some Bitcoin trackers. I've seen a couple things on the internet, never really dove in and researched it, but it's not a lot. I know that what is it, El Salvador or Ecuador, whichever one nationalized it, it's being used there. And so I think that adoption is happening, but it's not, I'd say that, you'd be kind of surprised that it's not being used. It's being more used for holding a speculative asset.
Speculation still. Big time.
And it's not being used for purchase. Although you can use it for purchase and for making, trades on certain things. But man, so I had this big idea this week, right? And it kind of goes like this. Let me show you the CRV trade. We're gonna have to talk about it.
Oh, right. Cool. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna manage this thing really close, whatever. But I'm gonna talk you through my logic and then some other things I've been thinking about lately. But so this was, and let me get RSI. There we go. Okay. So I took a nice position, CRV. I like it, like the weekly chart, like everything about, like, I like this asset, right? I think it's a good trade. Okay, took it. And I can't remember where I got in, maybe somewhere around here, something like that. Mm-hmm. And, like, okay, we're riding this channel, seeing it, that's my 45 degree up, and then it broke up. Okay, got that. And this is like Christmas. This is the day after Christmas. And then we're riding, right? Never forget, we're riding. Let me zoom in, show you this. We're in this down channel. I don't know if I drew it here, doesn't matter. I remember I pointed this out too in the telegram. Hey, we popped up. Yeah, hey guys, everything's fine. We're gonna be okay. Oh man, I hate fake outs. But so we were riding this, but then I was looking at this ledge right here.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. We're pinching down. I'll never forget, because I drew it even tighter, I think, on my phone. We're pinching down. And my theory, well, it's more for like flags and that sort of thing. But this is a wedge pattern. If you took this off, that can be drawn as a wedge because you don't have the data here, right? And like, my whole theory about wedges is if you come out topside, you normally do around 70% of the wedge. So from here to I draw the wedge, because you have data now, you can start drawing here to here. Yeah. I was expecting this will be like the end. I would have expected a topside break around here, for bullish break. Because a lot of times it's what you see, is you don't go to the end, you don't go to the tip. When you go to the tip too often, and this is not a hard and fast rule or anything, but just more of an observation that I've seen 1,000 times. But when you fill the tip out, you are more than likely to break down. Yeah. So, okay. So all that happened, realized it, whatever. We're still around 560, whatever. You had a high of around 6 something back here. So, but here I am watching this, and what do I see? Okay. I zoom out. What do we see? What's this? That's that data. That's that RSI. And then what do we have? Way up here, we have this lower RSI with a tap, right? Yeah. So we have an obvious higher high on a lower RSI attempt that didn't break through. We were riding this trend. I was happy with this channel. We're riding this trend. And then we broke out topside. I know it's getting sloppy, but broke out topside, lower RSI, and then we had a breakdown right here. This right here. We broke down below 65, and we broke this channel. So right here, let me clean this up. So on my system, I'm looking at this candle. It's like 5 a.m. too. Crazy. But that's how it is. Breaking, like busting that on that candle, we came back up, and then you can see patterns in your RSI. Look at that. What does that look like, right? Yeah, all that stuff. See it. And then by this candle, your RSI is cooked down to here, right? Your RSI is like 50. Like, okay, my signal says sell. Okay, what did I do? Nothing. Why? Because I was sitting there calculating fees. Right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the math because I've got a place where you have to pay an entry and an exit fee to make a trade. Okay. So you have to make your trade. So I was like, okay, this is a sell signal on the 1 hour, not the daily, but it's 1 hour. So could I take action here? Okay. To get out, there's friction. You're going to pay a fee to get out. Okay. Well, how far? So there I am sitting there like on the day after Christmas, thinking, okay, how far does this have to drop so that I break even on the fee? And doing math like that, right? So like all of that really started getting me thinking about this, like, why am I playing, or why do I feel like I'm trying to play this game and be a fierce component in the battle, but then I have one, like, I feel like I have an arm tied behind my back. Does that make sense?
Totally.
You know, I'm like, okay, but then, but you got a fee thing, you got to beat the fees too, and then you're like, you know, I wrote you this deal yesterday, whatever, but like,
you can't
wins?
You can't day trade in that scenario.
You can't.
You'll never win.
You can't.
No.
If I'm like, I want to, you know, like, boom, I'm out. Like, if you're looking at a break even, you're like, okay, I'm going to take this off and then I'm going to get back in. Well, if you're, let's just say you get it, whatever, take it off there. If your break even to get back in is like down here, then you got to be like, okay, just say it is. I don't know if the math is right, but let's just say that to recover your fees, you have to get back in below this line.
Yeah.
Well, that's the math. That's the mental math I was doing. I'm like, well, how confident am I that we're going to retrace here before I think that we get another pop? Well, I'm not. So I'm kind of frozen. And so that was really, honestly, that was a learning for me. And it kind of really opened my eyes. And I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. Right, man? Like, if I'm going to be more active, especially if I'm going to start trading on the 1 hour or taking trades like this and everything, I can't run into that. Like, that can't be a part of the gauntlet.
No. 7% every time you're in, I mean, like, for a particular trade, I
can't, because you can't swing. You're not like, you don't make anything until you clear that hurdle. And then
right.
I can't, that's too much friction for me to feel like I can get more active, especially like down to the 1 hour.
Totally.
So I'm like, okay, boom, I see the setup. Like, I see this RSI break on my system. I like it. I like this breakup on RSI. Okay, here we go. I see this price break. Okay, I want to get in here. Okay, I want to take this trade at $4. Okay. And then like you're trading and you're like, I'm watching trend. I'm seeing strength. Okay, we broke down, but like price is still up. So remember, and then we start this trend. Like, okay, I'm watching. And, you know, like the fee, I felt like, honestly, I felt like I was like a gladiator in the Coliseum. I was battling, like I was fiercely battling all the other gladiators, right? Or all the other, whatever, the bad guys or whatever. The other.
Yeah.
And the fees were like when they launched the tigers up from the floor. You know what I mean?
You can't see them
I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. Like, come on.
Yeah, you're battling everything else.
Like battling
everything
else. I'm in it. I'm winning. Okay, I'm gonna get it. And then all these tigers pop up.
Right.
I'm like, I wasn't ready for the tigers, man. Like, and I know I'm in the situation, and you know, I get it. I've like agreed to these terms, right? So it's not like I'm like,
correct.
They're terrible. No, some I've
agreed to.
These are the rules of the game that I've decided to play.
That's right.
So my whole point is that I have a long list, and maybe I'll share it one day, but it's like when you're trading, things that are like distractions and then things that are hesitators are kind of like the governors on your decision-making process. Distractions are like, oh, everybody on Twitter's bearish, and you know, like, what did Twitter say, and whatever, social media and all these things. And some of these like hurdles or the governors of friction are things like, oh, and I have to, okay, so man, for this to win, then I need to win by that much, and then I start winning, and you're like, all right. So my whole point is to be more active. Well, there's two things, and I have another whole concept for you, which is next level. But for this is like, I need to be in a place where I don't have the tigers up from the floor. Yeah. Makes sense. So I got to figure that out.
There's nothing sneaky coming at you. Right.
Well, it's not like per se, it's not like a super surprise. Cause again, like I said, it's something that I have signed up for and I'm glad to have, and I use, and it's a great system. However, like that means that, you know, I guess I'm going through the realization of like, is this the right application for what I want to do when I'm more active? Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like that's a great way to do business. I think though, that it's not for actively trading. So I'm going to find a place, I think in 2022, going to find a place where I can get active. And the bigger thing for me is, here's a big question, and I've already asked you this, so it's not surprising. But why do we have to only be holding assets and be long? Right?
It's an interesting way to do business, man.
Like, so here we are. Like, that's why I like futures so much. I'm like, I can wait on the sidelines. If I see opportunity to go short, I take a short. If I see opportunity to go long, I go long. And I put risk capital on, and I trade, and I trade my risk capital, and then I observe, and I manage it, and then I'm out. But here, and then we talked last week about like this casino concept where you have all these side games and whatever, and and your mindset about that. Right. But to me, like the next part is, so the only way that I can, so like I've decided to play this game called crypto and trading, whatever, markets, investing, trading, whatever. Okay. So the rules are now you have to hold and be long, and you can't go short. And then if you want to get active, you got to worry about, you might have to consider some of the fees, right? Okay. All those things. Well, all those things started adding up for me where I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. And I've got to figure out a way to where I feel that I can be successful and not feel that I'm kind of one arm tied behind my back sort of thing going into battle, right? So I'm like, I want to be able to go short too. Like if the net opportunity is short, and if I see a trade setup that says short, then I want to go short. Why can't I go short?
Yep.
Like I should be able to go both ways. And I don't like having only go one way.
Okay. And so there are very specific rules to the game that you're talking about, the game that we're playing. It's not necessarily the game that I think you want to play long term. But if you want to do this, exactly what you just said, with the rules that are in place, there's a very specific way you have to do that. And it's buy the bottom and wait it out.
That's right.
That's how you win at that game.
Right.
The up only, we can only go long. There's 7% fee in and out. There's only one way to win that game. And it's by avoiding the friction and getting in at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if that's your play, that's great. And that's a great way to do it.
Fair enough.
But like, if you want to get more active, then like, that's what I guess. Yeah. Totally agree, man. Yeah. Like that's for like, when you just sit here and you're like, it's
a different game. It's a totally different game.
And then you just bought it.
Different rules.
And you kind of just forget about it and you hold it for when the bulls run with it. And then you get out and you make a ton of money.
And you never think about the 7%, right? You just never think about it.
It's just part of business. And that's fine. Like whatever.
Because you're up 300, 400, 500% or better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's fine. But yeah, to be like, when I was like, I'm going to manage this CRV trade a lot more active, then I'm like, okay. I see my signal. It's on the 1 hour. I'm like, then I ran into limitations.
All right. Well, what else? What else you got?
That's it, man. Just those two ideas of like, some of the environmental things, and then really like, I need to find a place where I can go short. Right. And I know like, and I'm not even talking about leverage. I'm not even talking about like, I don't even want to like take a 20x trade. Like, I don't need to. I mean, like I can. Yep. It's fine. Like, and even futures are a little bit leveraged, but it's I don't need to be super leveraged. I just want the ability to see, like, if Bitcoin gives me a sell signal, like let's go back to just on the daily. I know these are just kind of my personal thoughts here, but just the things I've been thinking about lately is like, because remember when we kind of painted this out and I was like, okay, here's our plan. Let's say we finally whatever, and we get a recovery, and then here and here. Okay, long and strong, hold for gains, take protection here, and then you just what? Wait?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
And I know there's other risks and things, and I haven't, been a trader my whole career, all that, right? But I'm just saying, like, this didn't sit well with me when I started thinking about it. I'm like, why do I have to just be on the sidelines and wait? Why don't I get to participate in that and that? If like I believe in my system, like for example, I'm not saying that you got to be like, I'm long and then I'm out and then I'm immediately short because I've got to have a trade on all the time. No, but like if we're going down, I want to participate. Like I want to participate. Like, yeah, as a trader, and this is why like for futures, it's a lot easier for me because I'm just like, I don't care where the market goes. I mean, I really don't. Like, I'm not like cheering on Apple stock or Amazon or whatever. I don't care. Like, I look at the chart and I say, okay, I see this, I do that. I see that, I do that. And like,
man,
that's it.
That goes back to my theory on on the way we've been playing this game. It's totally flawed. Because if your only way to win is when it's going up, then like you're doing exactly what you just said. You're cheering it on. You're completely tied into it emotionally. You're not objective on the trade. You're totally subjective on everything that happens, right? And so by being able to trade both ways, all you're doing is basically essentially you're rooting on the chart to tell you what's happening, right? That's it. And so I'm going to take it one way. Either way you're going, I'm going with you, chart.
And it doesn't mean I'm like
following the price,
day trading 100 trades a day, all that garbage. Like you can be like, trend is down. Okay, let's ride the trend. Trend is up. Okay, let's ride the trend.
Right.
There is a way I found on you can trade crypto on TradeStation. And yep. And you can go, it's futures. And so I don't have a crypto TradeStation account, but I can get one. And so I'm looking into that. So we'll find out. But yeah, that's like I'm going to solve that, especially for 2022, because as a trader, and when I trade markets and trade charts, yeah, dude, you just nailed it. When you're sitting here being like, I have the equipment to go short, like I have, can do that too. You don't care. You're not emotionally tied into be like, oh, we got to go up. Why is it up? Oh, why is it not going up like that?
Right.
That's a big thing. And you're like, that's why you take that completely out. And you're like, I just need to understand and identify the trend, when it starts, about when it changes and when it ends. And then I need to position myself to ride that trend, as a momentum trader.
Right. I mean,
that's trading.
Right.
That's trading.
That's what it is. Right. That's what you're
investing is more. It's more like I'm going to buy Amazon stock because whatever, and it's going to be let's go Amazon. I love you, Amazon, and come on, Amazon, and that's investing. But pure trading, like I trade futures, like this morning. I don't know how we're doing. We're chopping at the top on the 1 hour, and no, we're a little bit positive. I was just watching it. I'm like, yeah, if this breaks down, I go short. So we'll see. I'm like, structurally, I think we blow off and we're at 47.85 on ES. And I think that, I think the bulls push this up to whoever, 5,000, we get a blow off top and whatever that takes, it's fine. But that's the difference when I trade futures, and granted it's all simulated now, but it'll be real. I think 2022 for me, but, I don't care what the price does. I don't want the stock, I don't go to sleep at night hoping the stock market's up tomorrow. Right. I just, I just snipe it one way or the other. It's fine. Let's go. Just give me trend. Give me some volatility.
Exactly. You've got to be a trend sniper, right?
Yeah.
You got to be really, really good at determining what direction the trend's going.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So those are my deep thoughts for this week.
I love it. Interesting level for Bitcoin right now.
Macy's Jazz. I got Macy's Jazz for you. The piano guy comes on at 1.
Yep. But handy. Look at this level that Bitcoin's at right now. Just for the last part of this.
Like right here.
Well, so I just drew a nice horizontal line on the daily, right where the price is bottomed at 47 roughly.
On the wick or on the body?
Nah, just on the body. Just a general, price area. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, draw that out and just kind of look and see where there's chop around that price area.
Yeah, like here.
Yeah, all around there. Yeah, right there.
This is a former support, right? Look, up,
big pivot,
test.
Yep,
up
with a giant move off that line.
Mm-hmm. It bounced.
Yep.
There's no one to say that we have to this fractal must be recompleted or whatever. It's like, could we bounce from here and go up? Absolutely, we could. you know, but
or if you lose that,
or if you
area,
lose
you
it,
could see, like, look
like,
out below. There's
because
nothing
before
to hold it.
we were dancing on top of the,
Yep.
we were dancing
Look
on
at the
top
line
before, and maybe we go like, you know, and then
a couple days. Right.
You know, I know. Granted,
It's just an interesting price level. It's an interesting
1, 2,
spot.
3, 4, 5, 6. It was like a week. Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Like it was.
You could easily see a test down to 40,
so,
40, 41.
Yeah, we're running up on an hour here, but just a few minutes more. We're cool. And let me see the chat if anybody else has anything. Oh, Pulse X. Yeah, Rich, we're gonna get some of that. Don't worry, we're all over it. We'll look into it anyways. But so check this out, man. Like you had a whatever that is. This is daily. This was floor. It was kind of ceiling, whatever. Broke it, floor.
It's a range.
Bounced up, right. Bounced down through. And then it became your floor again for 1, 2, 3, 4 days or so. And then pow, broke down. And so sometimes I think about like the strength of the floor of the ceiling. Like the more it supports and then the more it breaks, like maybe the harder it is to come back through. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how to explain it exactly, but if this were a weaker level, then maybe you'd only be down here for a little bit and said, oh, no problem, we can break it.
Yeah, right.
But like sometimes I wonder, like this, it's almost like the like floor thickness or whatever, but like the thicker, the stronger, more robust it is to break one way, then it takes more time for this example, the bowls to re-energize and then to shoot back through. Right. Yep. So, you know, there's quite a bit. There's also like this guy down here that used to be kind of this guy over here.
Yep.
But
it's an important swing. It's an important pivot zone, right? That's obvious. It's an important pivot area.
Yeah. So we're just still chopping on the 1 hour. Huh. Okay. Look at that. I was kind of looking at this box.
Wow. Look at that.
And we broke it. And then, look at that. A little bit higher volume. So we'll see. Maybe we get that. Maybe we get those deals we've been looking for a long time. You know, it'd be good. Pick those up and then ride up for the deals. And then
totally ready.
Make some money and then go in the harbor and then get back in. Meanwhile, 2022, we figure out how to trade both ways. Maybe open that aperture up and get that in the arsenal and then whatever. But
plan.
2022, I think it's going to be good, man. Especially getting more active in trading and really becoming one with the market, dialed in on all this stuff.
Putting your system to work.
Being absolutely. Versus just, sitting there staring at the price and just hoping it to go up,
Yes, sir.
Not for me anymore. So, well, thank you guys for tuning in. I think this is about it. And we'll plan to do it again, but hey, I guess, Happy New Year this weekend. To ring in 2022 and be successful next year. It's going to be a good year for us. And Bravo, thanks for joining today, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate the education. Good stuff.
Good time. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to sign out. And until next time, or in the Telegram.